Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 25 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium, our new Necron Immortal models, and then unleashing them in our game. Hello, I'm Will, this is Mike, we're the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And in this video we've got issue 25 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium for you. With this issue we got 5 Necron Immortal models. If you'd like to see these painted up and on the battlefield, you can skip ahead to the battle report if you'd like to, but we'll have a look through the issue contents before we get there. First up, we've got some background on Necron Immortals. These are the elite infantry of the Necron legions, less numerous than warriors, but equipped with more powerful weaponry. They either have Gauss blasters or Tesla carbines. They've also got a higher degree of autonomy and tactical ability on the battlefield. And we have their battle record as usual, so you can give your Immortals a designation, some battle damage, and possibly some enhancements they've received, even a special mission for them. Then we have background on the Necron Royal Courts, which consist of the Necron nobility and their advisors. The higher ranking nobles are the overlords and lords that tend to rule over the Tomb Worlds themselves. They often have a bodyguard of Lich Guard, and Royal Wardens are some of the lowest ranked nobles who act as battlefield lieutenants. And over the page we've got the various schools of the Cryptex. Technomancers we've seen before. There's also Plasmancers, who specialise in energy manipulation, Chronomancers, who are masters of time, and Psychomancers, who study the science of fear. Then we have some information on the hierarchy of the Imperium. You can see in this picture there's representations of a lot of Imperial institutions, with the Emperor himself in the middle. Since he's indisposed, the Imperium is ruled by the 12 High Lords of Terror, making up the Senatorum Imperialis, and it also singles out here the Adeptus Mechanicus, the Cult Imperialis, which is the official religion of the Imperium, and the Adeptus Administratum, which is the massive bureaucratic organisation that keeps the Imperium running. And there's some more details over the page. The Imperium is a gigantic bureaucratic nightmare, understandably given that it stretches across the whole galaxy. As if that weren't complicated enough, it's been split in half by the Great Rift, making everything even more difficult to keep under control. Then we have background on the homeworld of the Ultramarines, where most Space Marine chapters might rule over a single planet. The Ultramarines actually have an entire sector of space called Ultramar, centred on their homeworld of Macragge. Generally speaking, these worlds are better off than some of the places in the Imperium, thanks to the Ultramarines' wise rule. There's a bit more on the back about the Fortress Monastery of Hera on Macragge itself. And a quote here from Lieutenant Causius, who was the exclusive miniature to the Conquest magazine, the predecessor to Imperium. Then we're on to the build guide for the new Necron Immortals. While these look superficially similar to Necron Warriors, their kit is actually quite different. Unlike the Necron Warriors, which are only a single pose, these have interchangeable arms, torsos and legs, and posable heads, so you can actually pose them however you like. It also has quite a lot of extra bits because the Immortals have 2 different weapon options, though they tell you to make the Gauss blasters here, and some different parts for making a different unit that we'll get some of later. And then their painting guide, which is just bringing them up to the standard of the Necrons we've had already. Got Runal Brass and Abaddon Black, and then Lead Belcher, Canoptek Alloy, but then a stripe of Korax White down the centre of their helmets to mark them out as a higher station than the lowly Necron Warriors. And then they are finished there. Also with this issue we got another fold-out insert. This is about the military forces of the Adeptus Mechanicus. On this side we've got a showcase of lots of different models from 3 different Forge worlds. So in the centre we've got Mars itself in their classic red and cream colour scheme. On the right hand side is Riser, technologically advanced Forge world, although it's currently under siege. Their forces are arrayed in orange, and on the left Metallica, which is fiercely independent of Mars, and they are arrayed in off-white with red details. And on the other side, a large chart showing the strategic disposition of a Forge world, so this shows how their military forces are organised, and then some more background information on the military forces. When roused to war, the Adeptus Mechanicus can call upon all sorts of arcane and devastating technologies. But that's it for the contents of this issue, so now we'll be on to our game and we'll see our Immortals in action.
First up we have some more new data sheets to look at. First up we have the Royal Warden. His stat line's basically unchanged. He's leadership 10 for what it's worth. The important thing to know is he's got 2 new rules, Adaptive Strategy and Relentless March. Adaptive Strategy is something you use in the command phase, and you can pick 1 friendly Zarrakan core unit within 9 inches of him. Then until the end of that turn, that unit can shoot and declare a charge if they fell back that turn. So normally if a unit falls back, they can't shoot or charge later in the turn, but this allows this unit to do so. Relentless March is an aura. Friendly Zarrakan core units within 6 inches of the Royal Warden gets +1 to their move characteristic whenever they make a normal move or advance. It's the same one the Overlord has. And then we have the datasheet for the Immortals. So they're similar to Warriors, but they have a toughness of 5 and 2 attacks each because they are more elite, and you can see they're more heavily armoured. They also have a 3+ save. And they're armoured Gauss Blasters, which are basically bigger versions of the smaller Gauss Reaper the Warriors have. This one's only rapid fire 1, but has a 30-inch range, strength 5, AP -2 damage 1. They have reanimation protocols, and you can see that they're a core unit, so they benefit from the Raw Warden's abilities. And over on this page you have tutorials for Adaptive Strategy and Relentless March. So we've seen Relentless March before, and Adaptive Strategy here. In previous games, once a Necron Warrior unit got into melee, they had a really hard time. This sort of neatly sidesteps that vulnerability, allowing units to fall back and shoot, or charge if they are so inclined. And this little bit here is basically explaining how to use the rules in general, I suppose. It clarifies which rules are relevant, so it goes over which core rules and advanced rules you need to learn to play the games. And over here it just clarifies how the rules are laid out. So you have these little small boxes that contain key information, and I really like using side boxes that look like commentary but are actually relevant, like here, Smite's in its own little side box. So now we can get into our mission for this issue. This is the second game of the Scout Mission Pack, where the Necrons forces on Tsiphos have managed to push through the outer ring of defense fortresses and are now trying to assault Outpost Gyradon, which overlooks a rocky valley. The Raw Warden and some of his forces have managed to breach the walls and are attempting to secure the perimeter, while the Primaris Lieutenant and 2 units of Assault Intercessors have been sent to try and throw the Necrons back. So we have the actual mission, secure the perimeter. You can see the forces, we have the Raw Warden, the new Immortals and 10 Necron Warriors facing off against the Lieutenant and 2 5-man units of Assault Intercessors. The battle mat is set up as usual. Once again the terrain doesn't matter, and we have a 3-inch deployment zone along each short edge. But you can see there's 2 objectives this time. So 9 inches from the short edge, or 6 inches from the edge of the deployment zone, and 3 inches from the long edge on either side. So almost in the corners but not quite. We have a progressive objective to capture Outpost Gyradon. At the end of each player's turn, the player whose turn it is scores a victory point for each objective they control. Now, the Necrons also get a victory point if they kill the Lieutenant, while the Space Marines get a victory point if they kill the Raw Warden. The battle will last for 5 battle rounds, but at the end of your command phase, if a player controls both objectives, they instantly win the game. Otherwise, whoever has the most victory points at the end of the game wins, and if it's the same as a tie. There's no rules for who deploys first, so we'll have to refer to the Scout Mission rules for how to do that. And like the last game, we'll be rolling off to see who gets the first turn afterwards. We won't show deployment, we just showed it off in the previous game to show how it works, but we probably won't in future games, and we'll come back once we've deployed. So here we finished deploying, starting with the Necron player. You can see we've got the battlefield set up with the Space Marines on the left and the Necrons on the right. Objective number 1 up there in the top left, and objective number 2 down here in the bottom right. I'll just go over my deployment. Over on the left I've got the unit of Assault Intercessors without the plasma pistol at the bottom, then the Lieutenant and the unit with the plasma pistol at the top.
And for the Necrons we've got the 5 Immortals closest to the camera near the objective, the Raw Warden behind them, and the Warriors right in the middle of the board.
So it doesn't say who starts, so we'll be rolling off to see who gets to choose who goes first. Well, I got a 6, so I think I will choose to go first. So we'll head into Space Marines turn 1. My turn's over very quickly. All of my units just advanced. Fortunately, it didn't roll very well, so this unit only got a 2, so they moved up 8. The other unit at the back only got a 1, so they moved up 7. And then the Lieutenant is just going to stay behind, so people can't shoot at him. I could have moved up this unit normally and got some pistol shots off, but I don't think it's really worth it. The amount of damage, I might be able to kill a warrior or 2, but I think just getting into range is better. However, that's going to be it. And we'll be on to Necron's turn 1.
There's nothing to do in my command phase, so in the movement phase we've moved up so that the Warriors are in front and the Gauss Reapers at the front are in range to shoot, and they move the Immortals behind because they, with their 30-inch range, they only need to get within 15 inches to shoot twice with their rapid fire weapons, and the Raw Warden the same is at the back. We've got 7 models in range of the objective, because obviously you've got to be aware that the Space Marines could take it and hold both simultaneously and win instantly. And then we'll be on to the shooting phase. We'll start with the Necron Warriors, and they'll shoot at the closest squad of Assault Intercessors. We'll start with the Gauss Reapers, 10 shots hitting on 3s. That's 8 hits. Winning on 3s. Only 4 wounds, maybe -2.
4 5+ saves for the Assault Intercessors. Didn't make any, so that's 2 dead so far.
None of the Gauss Flayers are within 12 inches to shoot twice, so we've just got 5 shots hitting on 3s. They all hit. Wounding on 4s. Oh, box, we've got 3 wounds.
3 4+ saves this time. Failed 2, so that's 3 dead Assault Intercessors. So we'll take away these 2, and then this one.
We'll do the Raw Warden next, just shooting at those 2 remaining Assault Intercessors, because he is within 15, and yeah, I think it will do it that way around. So he has got 4 shots hitting on 3s, only 2 hits, wounding on 3s. Well, nothing. So we'll shoot with the Immortals at them, and they are all within range, 15 inches still. So that means 10 shots hitting on 3s. 6 hits. Wounding on 3s, 4 wounds.
4 5+ saves. Made 1. So the Sarge is left on 1 wound.
And that's all my shooting.
So we're on to the morale phase, where Sarge here has to make a morale test. Lost 4 of his friends, and he's leadership 8, so he, fibre of 6 is a fail. Oh, 6 he failed, and runs away. Apparently this Space Marine does no fear. Yeah, so we actually forgot to set at the end of my turn. At the end of my turn I gain a victory point for holding Objective 1, and at the end of the Necron turn they get a victory point for holding Objective 2. But that's the end for the first battle round. On to battle round 2. I think I have to be aggressive here, since Assault Intercessors aren't really made for holding objectives. So both my units have moved up normally, so we can try and charge later. In the shooting phase I'll do the Lieutenant first, and he's going to shoot at the Immortals. His gun is strength 5, so he might be able to do some damage. He has 2 shots hitting on 2s, getting 2 hits, wounding on 4s, getting nothing. Then the Assault Intercessors will shoot their pistols. The Sergeant's plasma pistol is in range of the Immortals, so he'll fire at them, while the other 4 will fire at the Necron Warriors. Not going to supercharge the plasma pistol, because there's literally no point. The Immortals only have 1 wound. Well, he doesn't hit on a 1, doesn't blow himself up though. Then the 4 pistol shots at the Warriors, getting 2 hits, wounding on 4s, ooh, 2 wounds.
2 5+ saves, failed both. I'll take away the closest ones, and then I'll see if they reanimate. Hitting 5s with rolling 1s because we're Warriors. No, they both failed.
Well, now we're on to the charge phase. Both of my units will attempt to charge. The Lieutenant will go first, and he'll try and charge the Warriors only. Needs a 7, gets an 8, so that's enough to get him in. So the Lieutenant gets himself to there, not going into base contact, so you can pile in around a bit. And then the Assault Intercessors will charge the Warriors as well. Again, needing a 7 to get in range, you get a 9. So the Assault Intercessors will finish their charge like that. Bit of a weird charge, but this guy who was at the bottom of the unit has gone across essentially, and he's hopefully going to be able to pile in his way around to get to the Royal Warden. But I'm actually going to start with the Lieutenant in the fight phase. He's just going to pile in. He'll pile in around here. So the Lieutenant's got 4 attacks with his power sword, hitting on 2s, getting 3 hits, wounding on 3s because +1 strength, so he's 5. He gets 1 wound, so that's 1 dead Necron.
I'll take away this Necron here. Comes back on a 5. Oh, he does. And he's going to come back over there, which is going to hopefully block off the attempt to get to the Royal Warden.
Yeah, but they get to go next since they charged. So the Assault Intercessors have powered in. Sarge in the middle there can't quite reach the Royal Warden, so they're all going to attack the Warriors. So 16 attacks with chainswords, hitting on 3s. That's 9 hits. Wounding on 4s, rerolling 1s because of the Lieutenant's aura. Reroll that 1. All into a wound, so that's 6 wounds.
6 5+ saves. Made 2, so 4 die. So I've taken away the 2 at the back, the one who was fighting the Lieutenant, and then the one who was protecting the Royal Warden, and I'm hoping at least 1 will come back. 4 reanimations, 5 for rolling 1s. Oh, I got 3 back. So I brought back 1 on the end to protect the Royal Warden in base contact with that Assault Intercessor, and then 2 more on the other end by the Lieutenant, and everybody is still within 2 inches of 2 models.
And that's the end of all that, so the Assault Intercessor is just going to consolidate a tiny bit, and then the Necrons get to fight back.
So they're all in base contact, so they can't pile in anywhere, so we're just going to have 6 attacks on the Assault Intercessors, and 1 has to fight the Lieutenant. 6 attacks on the Assault Intercessors, hitting on 3s, 3 hits, wounding on 4s, 2 wounds.
2 3+ saves.
That's cocked.
Yeah, that's definitely cocked. No, it's still a fail, so that's a dead Assault Intercessor.
I'll do one attack on the Lieutenant. It hit, it wounds on 4, wounded.
2+ save because of shield. Yeah, he's fine. Well, managed to lose an Assault Intercessor, so I take this guy off the end since his plan won't succeed anymore. That's it for my turn. I don't hold any objectives, so no victory points. On to Necron turn 2.
In the command phase, I can use the Royal Warden's adaptive strategy ability to designate a unit that will be able to shoot even though it fell back. Obviously, I'll pick the Necron Warriors because they're the only unit in melee. And then we're just going to fall back into the corner with the Immortals and the Royal Warden behind a screen of Warriors. Then we're on to the shooting phase. I'll start with the Warriors, who are allowed to shoot, as I said, and they're going to shoot everything at the Assault Intercessors. We've got 3 Gauss Reapers left, so the 6 shots hitting on 3s. Only 3 hits, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
2 5+ saves. Fail both.
And 8 shots with Gauss Flayers hitting on 3s, 6 hits, wounding on 4s, 2 wounds.
2 4+ saves. Oh, fail both. So that's 2 dead Assault Intercessors. I guess we'll take away these 2.
And we'll do the Raw Warden at them as well, since his 2 damage gun will take them out in 1 hit. 4 shots hitting on 3s, 2 hits again. Wounding on 3s, 1 wound this time, we managed at least a wound.
5+. Nope, just left with the Sergeant.
And the Immortals are actually going to shoot at the Lieutenant to see if we can put some wounds on him. So 10 shots hitting on 3s, 9 hits. Wounding on 3s, 6 wounds.
6 4+ saves, because he has the +1 from his shield. Why, he made 2, so he's still alive, just. So Lieutenant's alive on 1 wound.
But then there's no more shooting and I'm not charging anything.
Right, in the charge phase I'm going to heroically intervene. Lieutenant's going to go out in a blaze of glory.
There's nothing much I could have done about that.
And he actually gets to fight first, because it's the Necron turn, so Lieutenant's going to attack the warriors. 4 attacks hitting on 2s. They will hit. Wounding on 3s. Oh, they all wound. 4 dead Necrons.
So we've basically lost 3 that weren't on the objective and then another one on the other side.
But do any of them come back?
Why is we rolling 1s? Nothing at all.
Whoa.
They're all dead.
Oh yeah, they get to hit back.
3 attacks hitting on 3s. 1 hit. Wounds on a 4. That's a wound.
2+ save. Oh, he survived. And then in the morale phase, the Necron warriors will be fine, but the Assault Intercessor Sergeant has to make a morale test. He lost 3 of his friends this turn. So on a 6 he runs away. Oh, he doesn't quite. And that's the end of the turn where the Necrons gain a victory point. And then we're on to Space Marines turn 3. Why, my turn, Lieutenant's going to stay in combat, and then the remaining Assault Intercessor Sergeant's going to move so he's closest to the Raw Warden. And then in the shooting phase, now I'm going to go for it, he's going to supercharge his Plasma Pistol at the Raw Warden, and the Lieutenant will shoot at the Warriors. Sarge hits on the 3. Oh, he rolls a 1 and blows up. That was probably a bit risky, so Sarge is dead. And the Lieutenant has 2 shots hitting on 2s, getting 1 hit, wounding on the 3. He wounded.
4+ save, no AP, we've made it.
Then the Necron Warriors get to fight first in the fight phase.
3 attacks hitting on 3s, and only 1 hit again. Wounds on a 4, that's a wound.
2+ save. Get it in the box. Oh, he died. There we go. That's and the Lieutenant goes down, and that's clearly a Necron victory. They gain a victory point for what it's worth. I'll recap that game for you now. Well, that was the game for issue 25 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. Do you think that could have gone any better for you?
Probably not. It was the result I was expecting, but...
Yeah, likewise.
But it was just even more pronounced, I think, than perhaps it could have been. You made very few armour saves in that game, unfortunately.
But I'm not too surprised that my army got just shot to bits. It just happened a bit quicker than I thought it would do. Well, I think if the Space Marines make some more armour saves on the way in and can hem you into the corner, I think eventually they might win out.
I think it's doable, and if you can engage more than one of my units in melee at any one time, then you...
Especially if you can't make use of the Raw Warden's adaptive strategy.
It was never a question of whether you would get into melee, it was always going to be a when and with how many models was the important thing. And I did destroy an entire squad with shooting. But
one of them ran away as well.
Yeah, but if you'd killed more warriors or I hadn't rolled so well for reanimations, then...
yeah, I think I would have wiped out the warriors if you hadn't made those reanimations.
Yeah, and I think the Lieutenant didn't do very well in melee either.
I don't think any of my units did very well. Plasma Pistol Sarge rolled 2 1s. I think my strategy was the correct one, to actually just attack your objective. Well, I mean, I guess I could leave a squad of Assault Intercessors behind, but that cuts my army in half, and I want the Lieutenant there for his reroll auras, so my army wasn't really cut out for holding objectives, really for taking them. So I think it was the correct strategy. Quite a risky one, because the longer I failed to take your objective, the more victory points you'd rack up.
And I think with Necron play, you have to be a little bit careful that you need to get enough models on the objective in the first turn to prevent the Space Marines from charging and just swamping the objective, because it is possible for them to take the objective in their second turn, assuming they go first, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just sit there and shoot, because with some advanced rolls, I could have advanced onto the objective.
Perhaps they added the rule that you win instantly if you hold both objectives in order to give the Space Marines that possibility. I don't think the Necrons really can play for the holding both objectives because, well, firstly, they're too slow, but secondly, you don't want to get close to the Space Marines. We did see definitely the value of the Raw Warden now as well. I mean, obviously his shooting's pretty good, but...
He basically solves that big problem the Necrons had in the previous games where they go into melee and then they were scuppered for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and if I hadn't had that ability in this game, then tying up even one of my units would have been a problem.
And Immortals are tougher than Warriors, but they still only have 1 wound, and they don't get the real ones to reanimate, so they're slightly less likely to get back up.
Yeah, and obviously I was trying to protect them by putting a screen in front of them because their shooting is more powerful. Well, it's the same as the Warriors with the Gauss Reapers, but it has a much longer range. And they're definitely a good anti-Space Marine unit as well, with the Strength 5 and the AP -2, and a lot of shots.
And the Toughness 5 as well against Strength 4 attacks makes them fairly durable. And even though they have 2 attacks in melee, you don't really want them to do that.
Obviously, they tell you to build the Immortals with the Gauss blasters, and those are the guns I would definitely choose for fighting Space Marines because they have the AP.
Yeah, the alternate weapon was you get multiple hits if you roll a 6 to hit.
Yeah, the Tesla Carbine, I think it's called, which we don't get the rules for, but it's much better against light infantry because it doesn't have any AP. It's the same strength. I think it's 2 shots at a slightly longer range because it's Assault 2, but it gets extra hits if it rolls a 6 to hit.
Yeah, it'd be better against Skitari, but I think the Gauss blasters would be just fine as well.
Yeah, I think the Gauss blasters are good against most things.
Yeah, and I guess with Immortals, they're alternates to warriors, whereas warriors do less damage but are more likely to survive, I suppose, because they got more numbers and more likely to animate, but Immortals will do more damage.
But they are more expensive per model in power and points, and their maximum unit size is 10 as well.
So I guess you'd probably want to mix in a Necron army.
Yes, and we haven't learned about it yet, but Immortals are a troops choice as well, so...
Yeah, so they get objectives secured.
That will be relevant later. As I mentioned in the intro, interestingly, though they do look very similar models, they're actually much older and they go together completely differently. You can completely mix and match up the arms, legs, and the heads are completely posable as well, whereas the Necron warriors are going to go together in one way. So you can make them a bit more individual, ironically, in an army of nameless robots.
Well, you're not just stuck with the same pose over and over and over.
Yeah. I suppose it's also worth mentioning this is an excellent value issue as well, because you get 5 Immortals for, well, £9 in the UK, which I think they're £25 for a box of 5, and it'd be similar in other currencies. So if you wanted Immortals with either kind of weapon or the alternate build models, which is the Death Marks, which I think we do get some of with the magazine later. So if you can acquire extra copies of this magazine, it is a very good value way to get those models.
Well, I don't think there's more to say about this game or this issue, so if you like this content, do leave a like and subscribe. And if you played this game, tell us how you got on, whether you made any arm saves at all if you were the Space Marine player. Otherwise, we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.